Welcome back to Credentialing Chronicles, where we spill the doctor's tea hotter than your morning coffee.
And give you the insider scoop on the wild worlds of credentialing, provider drama, and everything they don't teach you in med school.
I'm Shannon, and she's Nyleen, two credentialing pros with front row seats to the chaos, looking to make you a part of it. Yes, we want you to engage in spilling this tea with us. We need your love and likes, and we want to know what you think too. Look for us, please, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and yes, baby, even TikTok.
Yes, we love to see your love. From fraud scandals to burnout breakdowns and why your favorite surgeon might actually be banned from 5 hospitals.
Honey, we've got the gossip and the practical advice to keep you out of trouble and ahead of the game.
So grab your coffee, your compliance checklist, and maybe a lawyer, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to Credentialing Chronicles, where we usually spill the tea, the doctor tea hotter than the hospital coffee.
But today we're doing something different. No scandals, no fraud, no how did this doctor even get privileges?
No, I know. Who are we, right? What are we doing? Where have we turned the corner to go?
Oh, today we're going to do a love letter. So during this period in time in our year, we take the time to say thank you to our family, our friends, and just everything that we have to be thankful for. And so we want to take a chance and we're going to do a little spin on Credentialing Chronicles. And we're going to say thank you. Thank you to the good ones, the great ones, the doctors and healthcare professionals who are out there every day, saving lives, changing lives, and low-key holding the whole system together with duct tape and pure heart. And of course, to all those doctors that finish their applications on time.
Yeah, really. That's who it is, right? That's who we're saying thank you to. So if you're a doctor, a nurse, a tech, a therapist, an MSP, anyone in between, this one's for you. Stay tuned.
Yeah, so put your stethoscope down for a second, take a breath. We're about to brag on you a little bit.
Your credentialing solution. In a busy hospital, time is of the essence. But what happens when your credentialing staff is short-staffed and overwhelmed? AQC is your trusted credentialing verification organization. They provide credentialing, contracting, and monitoring services for hospitals, surgery centers, and clinics nationwide. With AQC, you can say goodbye to the stress and uncertainty of credentialing. AQC, your solution for continuous compliance and credentialing verification. For more information, contact us, www.aqccvo.com.
All right, Nyleen, start us off. You said you had a surgery story that still gives you goosebumps. It was so good.
Oh, well, this one lives in my head rent-free. And picture this, late 50s, former bus driver. We'll call him Mr. J. So one bad fall plus years of ignored back pain, and suddenly he can't walk any more than a couple of feet without collapsing.
Well, that does not sound good at all. And of course, the system's like, here's some pills, right? I'm sure. And maybe, maybe pray.
Yeah, so exactly. He gets bounced around from urgent care to quick visits to lose some weight, try PT. Maybe it's in your head. Meanwhile, this man is sleeping in a recliner because lying flat makes him feel like fire.
And if you ever read an MRI as an MSP, you just feel that in your soul, when somebody's in so much pain.
So finally, he lands in the office of a spine surgeon, and let's call her Dr. Lee. And so she actually sits down and she listens, pulls up his imaging, and goes, "How are you even standing?"
And that's when you know it's bad.
Exactly. The scan shows severe spinal stenosis and nerve compression. This isn't like try stretching. Like, this is, if we don't fix it, you're going to lose your ability to walk, like, for real. So Dr. Lee does what great surgeons do, which is she explains everything to the patient, the risks, the plan, what recovery is going to look like. She answers all his questions for him and his family. And then she performs this complex decompression and fusion surgery, hours in the OR.
And see, I'm holding my breath. How is he today?
Well, first day after surgery, he stands with the walker. It hurts, but he stands. Second day, he shuffles a few steps down the hall. A few weeks later in physical therapy, he's walking laps. Fast forward 6 months, this man walks into clinic with a cane in one hand and a bag of donuts in the other, telling the staff, "Y'all got me out of that recliner. I'm here to feed the entire floor."
Oh, see, that's always the currency of gratitude, right? Carbs, cake, donuts. What do you need? We need to eat sweets and be happy.
I know. And listen, it's not just the hardware and the surgery. It's the surgeon, right? Who cared enough to look deeper, to coordinate with PT, pain management, nursing, all of it. That one surgery didn't just give him his legs back, but it gave him back the independence, his dignity, and his life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, could you imagine not being able to lay in your bed?
I know.
That's one of the things I wait for at the end of my day. I'm like, oh, I love this bed so much. So every surgeon in our OR right now, rewriting someone's story, you're helping them. You may not get a parade, but you might get a donut run. And sometimes that's even better.
So the next story, Shannon, is about my first world, my nephrology world. And that was my first office that I helped open from scratch. And the physician is near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to send him this episode. And this is for my kidney people, my quiet heroes. The story right here is my favorite type of petty against the system. I will not let this patient fall through the cracks. Petty. Like, I need a doctor that just can't stop, right? So we've got a patient. And we're going to call him Marco. And he has end-stage kidney disease. And this kid was, if I can remember, I think he was around ages of 18 to 20. He was very, very young. He was actually a type 1 diabetic that had lost his sight. And he had very limited availability with family. And so because of his type 1 diabetes, that's when he also lost his kidneys. And so he's needed dialysis, finally got on dialysis. And what happened was, it was so cute. I remember my favorite story about him is like, how does a blind person know which pill to take, right? You could technically have to go through each bottle and like touch it, right? So you would know one is a little bit longer or shorter or round or square. Well, he had got it down to a shake. And so when he would come in with his medicine bottles, he'd come in and he'd shake the bottle. By the shake of the bottle, he knew the sound. He knew which pill was for what. I just thought that was so interesting. So we dedicated so much time. We dedicated so much time and energy into this patient. And he finally gets the magic call of, you're eligible to begin your transplant workup.
Oh, so he won the lottery that day.
Right? But it's the first big transplant screening is scheduled. But the problem is it's 2 hours away because the closest transplant center from where we lived was 2 hours away that could see him and do his type of case. So everything depends on it. His future, his listening, his timeline, everything, right?
Okay. He's got to get there.
He's got to get there. Well, what happened was, we tried to arrange transportation. Transportation fell through. He asked his family members. Nobody could take a day off. So my nephrologist, Dr. S says, I'm going to take the day off. I'm going to take the day off and I'm going to drive him 2 hours away to get his transplant screening.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That is so amazing. I mean, your doctor becomes your Uber.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this was before Uber even existed, but that doctor waited all day with him. He not only drove him the 2 hours to his appointment, he spoke to the transplant doctor. He made sure all the labs were done. He stayed there the entire time just to make sure everything was done appropriately and drove him back 2 hours later.
And that's the part people don't always see, like on the CV, right? Can you put that on your CV? I drove my patient 2 hours each way because I refused to let bureaucracy steal his chance at a new kidney, at a transplant. I mean, how do you put that on there without sounding braggy, right?
Right, exactly. And long story short is, thank goodness he did get called for a transplant.
He
and
did.
He was successfully transplanted. He did get transplanted. And the last I heard, he was doing great. So to all the nephrologists, the transplant coordinators, dialysis nurses, and social workers who have had to move mountains for these types of patients, sometimes even steer the car to get patients to transplant, we see you, we appreciate you, and we want to say thank you because it's one of my favorite stories to tell working in healthcare.
I know, and this comes out Thanksgiving, so we just want to say, happy Thanksgiving to you. That is just such an amazing story. All right, well, I guess let's continue on the path of unsung superheroes, right? I mean, do you have maybe a primary care, family medicine kind of story?
Yes. So the people who live inside this 15-minute visit somehow have to see a whole human, right? We've got a story about a primary care doctor, and we're going to call her Dr. Alvarez. She's seeing a patient, mid-30s, in and out of urgent care for months, headaches, fatigue, palpitations, constant anxiety. Every visit, new prescription, no resolution.
I hate when things happen like that. It just makes it very hard, and the system is just doing the least, I feel like.
Exactly. The patient shows up to Dr. Alvarez for a second opinion, and instead of just chasing the symptoms, Dr. A goes, okay, tell me about your life.
Not the whole life.
So she showed personal interest. Well, but then she learns that the patient was working 2 jobs and was caring for sick parents and was barely sleeping, drinking energy drinks. Insurance was spotty, food is whatever's cheap. And then on top of that, she's being told for years, oh, it's just stress, it's just anxiety. So Dr. Alvarez orders a full workup and screens for things that other people skipped. Well, it turns out, yes, of course, there's anxiety, but there's also untreated hyperthyroidism and severe iron deficiency anemia.
Oh, see, that's when the doctor becomes like Inspector Gadget, because they take it out of it's just in your head, right? It's your head, it's your hormones, it's this, now they're really looking at the whole person.
Exactly. She adjusts the meds, gets her to an endocrinologist, coordinates with a social worker to try and get her food assistance and mental health support. 6 months later, the patient says, you know what? I feel like myself again. I didn't even remember what that feeling was like. And that happened because one primary care doctor refused to just click through a template. She actually looked past the system and saw a story.
And every, primary care provider out there asking about how are you really? Well, the clock is screaming at you. This is your shout out. We want to say thank you to all of you all. You're the real heroes out there. And I think family medicine is truly sometimes underappreciated. Everybody looks at the specialties,
This episode of Credentialing Chronicles is sponsored by Med Elevate Solutions, your partner in turning healthcare chaos into operational clarity. With deep expertise in ASC, hospital, or physician office operations, clinical workflows, and compliance, their team helps you work smarter, not harder. Learn more at medelevatesolutions.com. Simplifying processes, amplifying outcomes, one facility at a time.
Okay, well, I feel like we should just continue on down this road. What do you think? Because there's more stories that I think we should talk about.
Yeah, let's start in Baltimore with a doctor who basically said, money? Never heard of her.
I love that story.
I know, right? So for nearly 40 years, this doctor has been practicing in one of Baltimore's poorest neighborhoods as a family doctor. He sees patients, he takes care of families, answers calls at all hours, and he doesn't charge them.
He literally tells people don't worry about it, like he's picking up the tab at dinner.
Yeah, then life flips the script. He actually gets diagnosed with not one, but actually 2 cancers and doesn't have insurance at the moment. So you know what happens? His patients actually rally around him. So his patients rally around him. This was such a nice story. I had seen it in the news when it first came out. And they start crowdfunding campaign and raise over $100,000 to help him pay for his treatment. He recovers, gets his insurance back, and now he's planning to give back any leftover money to the community.
And he recovered, got his insurance back. Why you gonna mess up my eyeliner? That's such a sweet story.
Because we have amazing doctors.
We have amazing doctors. I'm glad we did this episode. Oh, all right. Well, I mean, is there any more while you're getting all my tears going here that you have?
Of course, I can never stop. So we're going to go to, do you remember the concert in Las Vegas?
The horrible one. Yes, I do remember that horror. Oh my God, the chaotic. Yeah, with the worst mass shooting in United States history. And there's so much that's come out about it since then. And yes, I know what you're talking about.
Right. So there's a surgeon, Dr. S, who does what so many healthcare workers do instinctively. He actually ran towards the people who were hurt. He told his wife, go get somewhere safe. And then he stays. In the middle of the panic and the gunfire, he's putting pressure on wounds, doing first aid, carrying victims to safety, helping wherever he can, while over 500 people are wounded.
Oh, I mean, that's literally a superhero. That's what I would call like a superhero, right?
Yeah, and he's truly fulfilling an oath that I will help, even when it's terrifying.
I'm not sure that's the oath that they're taking at the medical schools.
I know.
I mean, he done went and took an extra oath.
So let's go to an emergency medicine doctor now, too. He gets a panicked call from his mom. Her infant had stopped breathing. Ambulances are delayed because there's a snowstorm, the hospital is far, and we'll see them when they arrive, right? This has to happen now. So the doctor stays calm and starts walking the mom through CPR over the phone, which she called the hospital. She didn't call 911. That's another issue, but that's okay. The doctor's helping her. All right, so the doctor's on the phone, step by step, breathe, take breath by breath, pump by pump. By the time EMS gets there, the baby had a pulse and was breathing again, and later makes a full recovery.
That is incredible. I mean, could you imagine being that mother? The only thing between you and the unthinkable is a stranger's voice on the phone saying you can do this. I mean, and the same thing with the 911 people, because they do that as well. And that is just an incredible. And the doctor was on the phone the entire time, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy. And, that moment lit a fire in him to make emergency care more accessible to patients. And he went on to help build one of the hospital's first emergency telemedicine services. And that's a life saved and a system changed.
And look at that. Oh my God. And now I hear you have a space doctor, somebody that's saving somebody in space.
Not only a space doctor, a Latina doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Come on through. Vamos.
Yes. So she's the first Hispanic physician to live and work on the International Space Station. She spent 6 months up there doing research on Parkinson's disease and cancer. And then she comes back to Earth and jumps straight into the chaos of COVID-19 during the pandemic. She treated patients, and she even trained patients at LSU in Baton Rouge.
From microgravity to no beds, no staff, and no chill. She just went straight to work.
Exactly. The teamwork, the self-care and focus that she learned in space helped her to manage the intensity of the pandemic. 2 totally different front lines, but the same mission, right? To improve human health.
And it's not just these few. We can literally talk about this for hours, right? Doctors, healthcare teams, just doing the absolute most. And we want to make sure that we are recognizing these people, because it's amazing what, just common humans are doing, regular humans.
Yes. And, like the radiation oncologist who helps a patient with his bladder and his lifestyle so he can keep scuba diving and teaching yoga instead of losing organs and independence.
Exactly. Or the orthopedic surgeon who's stuck with an 8-year-old girl through infections, repeated surgeries, and years of follow-up, only to watch her then grow up and play instruments and then go to college, get married, and come back pregnant, thriving.
Or like the pediatric infectious disease doctor who spends Saturday night chasing an experimental COVID med so a kid can get treatment that day, not when the office opens on Monday.
Honey, say it. Or what about the oncologist who doesn't just treat one patient's cancer, but literally digs into the family history, finds a hereditary mutation, girlfriend, and protects her daughters from ever facing the same disease?
Wow. And what about the vascular surgeon who says no to unnecessary amputations and fights to save limbs so people can keep walking, living independently, and dancing on their 50th family reunion?
I know that story right there, honey. Okay, well, what about my neurologist? I'm going to one-up you, okay? Who gives a guitarist his music back by treating literally a rare dystonia. Not just fixing a hand, baby, but restoring a calling.
Wow. Well, what about the gynecologic oncologist? So we can call the gynecologic oncologist who sits with his 41-year-old in pain for weeks, okay? With a 41-year-old patient, pulls her through a malignant bowel obstruction, chemo, and isolation, and finally sees her walk out of the hospital alive.
I mean, that's rewarding. Please go get yourself a steak dinner after that, because, honey, Ruth Chris is calling. That's who we need. Wait, we got to reach out to Ruth Chris for some sponsorships. Okay, the infectious disease team that takes a patient with AIDS, TB, honey, lymphoma, baby, not even nerve damage. What else more? Blood clots, seizures, all of it. And through sheer coordination, care, and a patient's will to survive, gets her into remission.
That's so beautiful. And, shout out to a friend of mine. He calls me and says, oh my goodness, my mom's been feeling sick. We're going to take her to the hospital. Shout out to the doctor who came in and answered his 3 a.m. phone call and did surgery to help her feel better and take her problem away and survive. Because they could have been life-threatening, right? If we ignore this thing since the doctor answered the call at 3 a.m. I mean, how amazing, right? That we have healthcare heroes like this. And they're not just Marvel characters. These are real humans. They also get tired. They also have families. They cry in their cars. They miss family dinners. But you know what? They show up anyway.
And we just want to say something really, really clearly from the credentialing side of the house. Really clearly, Nyleen. Tell them, baby.
We know that our podcast usually zooms in on the disasters and the how did we get this through peer review and the cases and the system failures. Like, we know that.
We do know that. But that's not the whole story of medicine, you guys. Not even close. We want you to know that.
Right. For every horror story, there are thousands of quiet wins, chart notes that prevented a disaster, late night calls that saved a life, early diagnosis that changed a family's future, and most of those never make the news.
Exactly. So to the doctors, the nurses, the advanced practice providers, therapists, techs, pharmacists, social workers, MSPs, schedulers, janitorial service, the chefs, every single one of you who show up to heal, protect, and care. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for the surgeries that help people walk and dance and chase grandkids again.
Exactly. And thank you for answering the phone when you're exhausted or staying too late to talk to a family member, for sitting in the room when there's nothing left to do but be present.
Yeah, thank you for the 2-hour drive so someone doesn't miss their one shot at a transplant. Thank you for looking past the checkbox and seeing the human, finding the real reason they're sick when everyone else gave up. And if you're listening to this as a patient or a family member, here's your homework. Think of one healthcare worker who made a difference for you. Maybe they saved your life. Maybe they just made you feel seen. Reach out, send a message, leave a review, drop off those donuts, and let them know that they mattered.
Because, honey, in a system that is often loud about complaints and quiet about gratitude, we do know that, you all. Your thank you is huge.
So, Shannon, that's our love episode. No subpoenas, no NPDB reports, just flowers and love.
I love when we give people their flowers, we need to give people their flowers all the time. Doctors and healthcare pros from us at Credentialing Chronicles, we see you, appreciate you, and I just want you to know we're always rooting for you. And we talk about all of the bad actors, and it allows you to shine in your job and show people how to do it right.
Yes, so if this episode warmed your heart even just a little bit, share it with your favorite doctor, your nurse, or your clinical team.
And don't forget, you all, subscribe, leave a review if you like what we do. Come back next time. And when we go right back to spilling the messy healthcare tea, because that's what we do, y'all.
Tonight, we're ending on a good note. Enjoy your time off with your family. Bye.
Bye. Woo, that was a whole lot of tea. Who knew doctors had more drama than reality TV?
And if you think that was wild, just wait till next week. We've got more stories, more scandals, and more credentialing chaos coming your way.
And if you love the tea, please don't keep it to yourself. Like to show us you're listening. Please comment and join the conversation, and follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, share so everyone else can sip with us.
Yeah, so see you next time on Credentialing Chronicles. Stay credentialed, not canceled.